Hi everyone, I'm really glad you could join me today because we are going to be learning all about a new story, and the story is called Katie in London. I'm going to share my screen with you. I hope you can see this. So let's get started. London seemed very big to Katie. Big trains, big buildings and big crowds. She held on to Grandma with one hand and her little brother Jack with the other. They all got onto a big red bus and set off to see the sights. When they got off at Trafalgar Square, Grandma was tired. "I'll just have a little rest," she yawned. "You two stay there by that lion, and then I'll know where you are." Katie climbed onto the big bronze lion and pulled Jack up after her. As the sun came out, the lion seemed to turn from grey to gold. "Do you mind?" said a very deep voice. It was the lion. "Who said you could clamber all over me?" "We're very sorry," said Katie. "Grandma said to stay with you." "Then I suppose you must," sighed the lion. "Now what shall we do?" "We wanted to see the sights, but Grandma fell asleep," said Katie. "Could you take us?" "Oh, yes, please do," said Jack. The lion shook his mane. "Hold on tight," he roared, bounding out of Trafalgar Square. How the people stared, but the lion didn't mind. "This is much better than lying on that stone all day," he said. "You have no idea how cold my tummy gets. Now where shall we go?" "You choose," laughed Katie and Jack. The lion took them to St. Paul's Cathedral. Can you see it? They gazed up at the enormous dome. "It makes me feel very small," said Jack. "It's so tall it makes me feel dizzy," laughed the lion. "Come on, let's go. There's so much I want to show you." Next, the lion took Katie and Jack to an old castle. "The Tower of London," he said, "haunted by the ghosts of kings and queens." Katie shivered. "Don't worry, they only come out after midnight," said the lion. "But you can see their crowns and jewels." The crown jewels were kept in a small special room. It was a tight squeeze for the lion, but the jewels sparkled like stars in a night sky, but in all sorts of colours: green emeralds, red rubies, and blue sapphires. Afterwards, the lion was pretending he was a ghost and chased Katie and Jack. "Excuse me," called a man in an old-fashioned costume. "You're scaring my ravens." "Who's he?" whispered Katie. "He's a yeoman warder," said the lion. "He believes that the towers will fall down if the ravens leave. Time to go." Can you see all the ravens that he's feeding? The lion decided to take them across the River Thames. They trotted on to Tower Bridge. Suddenly an alarm sounded, beep, 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 and the lights flashed. A boat was coming, and the bridge was being raised to let it through. "Stop!" yelled Katie, but the lion didn't stop. He jumped. But instead of landing on the other side, they landed on a boat. They chugged along the river, passing great ships and going under dark bridges. "Look, that's the Globe Theatre," said the lion. "Shakespeare wrote some fine plays that are performed there to this day, although very few of them have lions in them." "What's that big wheel over there?" said Jack. "It must be the London Eye," said Katie. "Why don't we go on it?" "You don't expect me to go on that thing, do you?" said the lion, as they all jumped off the boat onto the south bank. Before the lion could say another word, Katy bustled him on board the London Eye. Slowly the wheel turned, and they rose high above London. The poor lion turned rather pale and began to shake. But soon, even he couldn't help enjoying the view. He pointed to Big Ben. Can you see it there? Goodness, it's nearly 11 o'clock. We must hurry. As they came down, Big Ben chimed 11 times. Katy and Jack jumped onto the lion and they raced across the bridge, past the huge clock and the Houses of Parliament. They hopped in and out of queues of traffic, past taxis and red double-decker buses, past parks and grand buildings. They could hear music and drums. It's the changing of the guards, said the lion. Follow me. Left, right, left, right. The lion marched off behind the guardsmen in time to the music. Katy and Jack followed all the way to the gates of Buckingham Palace. Who lives at Buckingham Palace? Can you remember? That's right, the Queen lives at Buckingham Palace sometimes. Should we have a look? And then sometimes she stays in Windsor Castle, doesn't she? Sorry, said a policeman. Only royal guards allowed through here. See him. So Katy and Jack jumped back up and the lion walked on past the palace. They hoped to see a real prince or princess. Instead, they noticed a lot of flags and crests with lion on them. The lion smiled. I'm very well known by the royal family. Why is that? Asked Katy. Because the lion is called the king of the beasts, he said proudly. And as they galloped away, perhaps they did catch a glimpse of someone waving from a palace window. Can you see? I wonder who that is. By now the lion's paws were beginning to ache, so they all went to sit in a leafy park. The lion dangled his paws in a cool lake. Jack bought ice creams with his pocket money. I love ice cream. Delicious, said the lion. I love Tutti Frutti. How are your paws? Asked Katy. Rather sore, admitted the lion. I'm not used to walking. Perhaps we could catch a bus back to Trafalgar Square. A policeman told them to catch a number 9 bus from Harrods, the big department store. Oh, I wish I didn't have to go back, said the lion sadly. Don't you like Trafalgar Square? Asked Katy. Of course, said the lion, but I do get a very cold tummy lying on that stone. Jack whispered in Katy's ear, and they both smiled. They went into Harrods, and a few minutes later came out with a very small parcel. Then they all jumped on the bus whoosh, and travelled back to Trafalgar Square. Can you see the lion there in the window? Looks a bit squashed, doesn't he? This is for you, said Jack, handing him the parcel from Harrods. We bought it with the last of our pocket money. The lion unwrapped it and laughed. It's a woolly blanket. It's to keep your tummy warm, said Katy. How kind you are, sighed the lion. Thanks for showing us London, said Jack. Next time I'll show you even more, said the lion. Then Katy saw Grandma was waking up. The lion hopped onto the stone and kept very still, and as the sun went in, he turned from gold to grey. Hello, you two, said Grandma. Shall we go off to see the sights now? Oh, said Katy, I'm much too tired. I need a rest, said Jack, and they both flopped down on a bench and fell asleep. Wow, can you see the little blanket there underneath the lion's tummy? Oh, I really enjoyed that story. I really enjoyed seeing all the sights of London, and I hope you did too. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.